Hey everyone, it's Allie. So a few months ago I made a video asking for questions for a Q&A video. Now life got a little crazy and I did not get to doing those. I didn't get to the Q&A, but what I figured I would do is incorporate some of those questions, and I might still get to the rest of them, but I figured I would incorporate some of those questions in with this video I want to make today. I want to talk about my breastfeeding journey thus far. So yeah, I think I will kind of just talk about my whole journey, kind of everything we've been through leading up to where we are today, and then I'll answer some of the questions. I'll probably answer some of them just as we go, but I'll focus on the questions that I got regarding breastfeeding after I talk about all this stuff. Anyway, so let me get into it. I'm going to try not to make this video too long. So, sorry that noise in the background is just the heater. It was just kicking off. So, also I want to say, before I get started into this, breastfeeding is terrific and it's wonderful if a mother can provide that for her child. There are certain cases in which a mother can't, for one reason or another, is unable to breastfeed her child. In which case, formula is not going to kill anyone. I just want to say that formula is not evil, and I do not judge anyone for using it. So I just want to put that out there first. So anyway, here we go. So when the twins were born, they were born at 36 weeks and 4 days. After birth, we went to the postpartum room or whatever. I think it was actually a labor and delivery room. When we got to that room, I actually was able to nurse Caitlin when we got in there, which was really awesome. She latched pretty well right away and nursed off and on. You know, it was kind of, I don't know. I imagine all newborn nursing sessions are not amazing, but it was pretty cool. And so I got to nurse Caitlin just for a little while before they took her over to monitor her. And I did not get to nurse Dylan right away. Dylan was taken to the NICU pretty quick. So he went up to the NICU, and then soon after Caitlin went up to the NICU. So from there, the kids were in the NICU for 6 days altogether. And we had a really, really hard time trying to breastfeed. The babies both had really bad latches. I think most preemies have really poor latches. They're still trying to work on all those skills of breathe, suck, swallow. Their mouths are so tiny. And anyway, so while in the NICU, we tried Nipple Shields. We just really struggled with latching and the baby staying awake for feeds. That was a really hard part. They would take a couple sucks and fall right asleep. And I'd kind of have to rouse them, and they'd suck a little and fall asleep. And I was falling asleep as well, trying to nurse them sitting in the chair, because I was like utterly exhausted. I think I had gotten like 4 hours of sleep in, oh gosh, several days, and then, I don't know, by the time we left the NICU, I'd gotten probably a total like 8 hours of sleep in an entire week. It was really, really rough. So, anyway, so we really, really struggled. Sorry, I have my little notes here. So we tried Nipple Shields, I mentioned that, yeah. By day 5, I had like a complete breakdown. We were in a parenting room with the twins that night because that was going to be their last night in the NICU. And I just had a total breakdown. I was struggling so bad with breastfeeding and feeling like all the pressure was on me. And so I had been pumping also. I'd been pumping and breastfeeding. And by day 5, I threw in the towel and I decided to just pump. I was just going to pump and bottle feed them. I had been really avoiding bottles up till then because I didn't want there to be like nipple confusion and stuff like that. But I just said, forget this. I decided to pump, and pumping I did. So we came home the next day, and basically they fed about every 3 hours. We bottle fed them, and then I pumped every 3 hours, day and night. It was exhausting. And I don't know if, for those of you who have pumped on a regular basis, that whirring sound of that pump is like nails on a chalkboard. I hate it so badly. Anyway, so through the pumping, I struggled with my supply. I was always stressed about it, worried that I wasn't providing enough for them. I always felt like I was just barely providing enough milk through pumping, which kind of makes sense because how does your body know how much to produce, how much the babies need when you're just pumping? Anyway, so I tried to nurse the babies every once in a while, probably a couple times a week. I would try to put them on the breast using the Nipple Shields, but they still just did really bad until once we got to about a month postpartum, when they were about a month old, which is about when they would have been full term. Things just changed. I decided to just forget the pump. I said, goodbye pump, good riddance. And I started Tandem, exclusively Tandem feeding the twins. We used Nipple Shields, and I just switched over, and it was hard, but it was worth it. They still had pretty poor latches, and I had a lot of pain from it in the beginning, and actually for the first several months, it was a struggle, and their feedings were like 30, 40 minutes. They would just nurse and 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 nurse. It was kind of exhausting, but the time with them was also very sweet. So we used Nipple Shields. Dylan used the Nipple Shield until he was 5 months old. Was finally when I was able to get him to just really latch on well without it. I should say latch on well. He was still not great at it at that point. But it was just kind of a training thing because he was so used to using the Nipple Shield. Anyway, so he used it until 5 months. Caitlin used it until about 5.5 months. And it has been so great not dealing with the Nipple Shields. I love that I had them because it made nursing possible. It made breastfeeding my babies possible. But, they were a pain. You had to take them everywhere I went, and I had to constantly, wash them after every nursing, or I'd sit down to nurse, and I'd be like, oh, I forgot to wash the Nipple Shields, and I'd have to go wash them, and anyway, so, yeah, so I'm very proud to say that I exclusively breastfed my kids until they were 6 months old. They didn't have a drop of formula, which, like I said, formula is not evil. But I'm just really proud of myself that I did it. I made it to 6 months exclusively breastfeeding them. And at 6 months, they had their first bite of food, pureed food. And they're still, they have purees once a day in the morning. But other than that, they are still totally just doing breast milk. And my supply seems to be fine. Ever since I got rid of the pump and switched over to breastfeeding, I have had no worries about my supply at all. Yeah, so we are at 7.5 months now, just about 7.5 months. And it's going great. They are latching so well. I pretty much have no pain with nursing anymore, which is such a relief. The weirdest part, this happened a few weeks ago with Dylan and just a couple weeks ago with Caitlin. They're down to they nurse for 3 to 5 minutes and they're done. It's the strangest thing. And I expected that to happen. Everybody told me, oh, they'll become more efficient. And so I expected it to happen from the 30 to 40 minute nursings. I expected it to be a more gradual process, but it just happened one day. All of a sudden, Dylan was like, 5 minutes, I'm done. And then a week or so later, Caitlin did the same thing. So, which is fine. I mean, if they can get all the nutrition they need in those 3 to 5 minutes, so be it. and I mean, yeah, so they're having like enough wet diapers and stuff like that. I'm not concerned that they're not getting enough. So, yeah, so I plan to just breastfeed as long as I can, as long as my supply will hold out and the twins still want to. I'm just going to keep at it. So, yeah. I think that sums up kind of our story so far. I'm going to try not to be too much longer. Try not to go over 15 minutes here. I'm at 10 and a half already. But let me go through the questions that I got in that Q&A. Let's see. How is breastfeeding going? Kind of already answered that. Is it hard to breastfeed 2 babies at once? Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. The biggest help I have, though, is the My Breast Friend nursing pillow. I have the twin one. It's large. It's quite large. We've used it the whole time, and we still use it. Their feet hang off the end, but it works. It has been such a help. I don't actually really know how I would tandem nurse them without it. So yeah, it's hard. It's a challenge. I do enjoy when I just do one-on-one with them, but I kind of also enjoy doing it at the same time. They stare at each other, and it's really, really sweet. So now another question. They just want to know in general how it's going. Kind of answered that. In general, how it is to tandem nurse 2 babies. Yeah, so I kind of answered that. It's a challenge, but it's really sweet. They sometimes just make eye contact with each other. They don't often look at me. They'll just stare at each other while they're nursing, and it's such a sweet bond to see. This question is, are you tandem feeding? Yes. And then if so, how long did it take you to do so? When we switched from bottle feeding to nursing, I just went straight into tandem feeding. I didn't, in the NICU, of course, I did not tandem feed them. But at home, I just went straight to tandem feeding them. I didn't even, occasionally I would try nursing just one at a time in that first month. But because they were nursing for like 30 to 40 minutes, it was really, really hard to try to nurse one and keep the other one calm and happy and everything while nursing the other for, a half hour to 45 minutes. It's a long time. And it's big time. It's a big time saver to tandem feed them. Kind of just got it all done at once. So, another question. How is breastfeeding in general going? Yep. I had twins and struggled to keep up with the supply. I would love to know how you do it. Keep up with the supply and pumping. Honestly, I think with pumping, with nursing, your body gets the signal to produce milk. And it's however much the twins drink, your body gets the signal to produce, or your baby, twins or baby, whatever. Your body gets the signal to produce that much more. I think that with pumping, it's not getting that same signal. So, you might pump 5 ounces or something, or 10 ounces if you're pumping for twins, and your body will produce that much more. But say your baby is extra hungry and has 6 ounces, then there's a deficit. So it's like, that's why I hated pumping. It was such a stress all the time to keep up with my supply and to try to balance it and make sure I had enough. And I was like constantly going back and forth. Maybe I should do formula. And anyway, so last question. What have you found the most rewarding about breastfeeding twins? Just being able to provide their nutrition for them and not have to pay for formula. Formula is so expensive, and I was just able to do it. So I'm just so proud of myself for that. Anyway, I'm going to go before we get 15 minutes, and thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys are doing wonderful, and thanks for your support. I will see you later. Bye.